multiple reasons why I started doing Olympic lifts, but hypertrophy really wasn't one of them. But then when you start to see yourself literally turn into like this little gunman Megazord type thing, not from Mystic Force or like Power Rangers RPM. Those are doo-doo dog water, all right. But you start to see those different like muscular adaptations, you know, on the shoulders, upper back. You're like, might as well just keep doing it. Seems like it's working, so just keep rolling with it, right? So you know, doing your stuff like your high pulls, your muscle snatches, your different complexes. The complexes, Lord have mercy, the complexes. Just keep doing those. You'll turn yourself into a savage. I tell you what, 18 months ago when I started doing Olympic lifts, I was around 77 kilos, so like 170, maybe up to like 173 on a good day, just fluctuating back up and down from there. Kept doing those. My regular resistance training was more or less the same, so I didn't really attribute it to much of that, although it could have been. I don't know. This is what my experience has been. But within the last couple weeks or so, I've started more consistently waking up about 85 kilos, and this is a big jump for me. Some people are like, oh, it's not even a 10 kilo jump. In 18 months, I bulked there. It was like, for me, that's a big jump. That's a lot of mass put on, especially like lean tissue. Most of it was lean tissue. So that's that for my experience there. Definitely, I think people could benefit from that. All right, so obvious areas of growth: traps, upper back, shoulders, right? I don't really like shrugs. I don't really like doing rack pulls. I don't like doing whatever. It's fine. Those are also valid, but it's not really something that I vibe with. You feel me? So, but like I said, at 10 high pulls, that'll get her done. So like, at least for the hypertrophy aspect, if your goal is to like, you know, look big in clothes and stuff like that, do some stuff, do some high pulls, muscle snatch, stuff like that, and then don't like be a super weenie hut junior when it comes to like training your chest and your shoulder and your back, and then you're set. You're not so obvious, but still kind of obvious areas of growth. The legs, so doing full cleans, full snatches, overhead squats, all that kind of stuff, really good for the quads and the glutes. They go dumb, they go crazy. All right. So, and then also if you're doing stuff like hang cleans, you're loading up the hamstrings a little bit. It's not going through the full range of motion for like doing like an RDO, but that little mini RDO that you do is not insignificant, right? And if you're really concerned about that, we'll talk about that when it comes to the complexes. You can add some RDOs in there, and then it's taken care of. It's fine. All right, let's talk about why it works. So, high threshold motor units, aka the security guards from the deputies from Beyond Scared Straight, right? You have to do them really quickly and with intent. Now, I'm not saying that other training modalities can't do this or can't accomplish this, but you can't really patty cake around when you're doing like a 6 sets of 3 position snatches. It's just not going to work like that. So the common and the main driver of hypertrophy, mechanical tension overload, progressive mechanical tension overload. So in that tension, the muscle is a force. Newton's second law. Going back to physics, y'all check it out. Force, mass times acceleration. If you want to elicit more tension, more force out the muscle, you have to either subject it to more weight, the mass, or you have to move it faster, the acceleration aspect of it. Now that's all dependent on maintaining good form, and not just forcing the weight up, keeping the tension somewhat in the appropriate muscles where it's supposed to be. Especially under fatigue, which is what the complexes are good for too. You couple this with like a long duration set of complexes, you know, that the good old time under tension, right? You got yourself a pretty good recipe for like some summon skull shoulders, you know what I'm saying? So definitely check those out.
And just a little bit of a clarification. It's not necessarily the time and intention that's causing the adaptation there. It's just like the fact that you have such a high level of stress on the body through doing stuff like complexes and high duration stuff with Olympic lifts, that coupled with the fact that it's a long duration set just amplifies the overall signal that you're sending to the body. So just want a little bit of clarification on that.
Now for that, I was talking about the upper body mostly, but for the lower body, it's still valid, right? So it's not going to replace your overall leg work, but it's still valid, right? Still do your machine work, still do your regular squats, still do your isolation work, your single leg stuff, all that kind of stuff. Your your abduction machine, hip machine, all that kind of stuff. Still keep doing that. I'm just saying that it's not insignificant, the work that you're doing when it comes to doing a full clean, power clean, full snatch, power snatch, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't like, don't knock it, all right? All right, so how do you do it? What am I supposed to do? Couple different things. You could go crazy. You could go stupid. You could go absolutely bonkers, if you will. But you gotta make it make sense, right? So let's say you're on like a more lower body focused day. You don't be doing a whole bunch of like high pulls into like muscle snatches because you're like, what you're doing. A couple things you could do. You could do some RDLs into a high pull. A couple RDLs into a high pull into some overhead squats. That's like that's an example for like a lower body day. You could add some. That's at least for the snatches. You could do stuff for cleans, clean high pulls and front squats, and just loop them through. You just gotta make them make sense. You gotta pick a weight where you can do it for all the sets all the way through with good form without having a whole bunch of misses. So as long as you have that, then you're fine. Then you can do upper body stuff. Let's say you could do some stuff with push presses, muscle snatches with like a clean grip. So instead of doing muscle snatch, you call all the way up right here, you bring it in, and you still muscle snatch and then bring it all the way up, but you just have a more narrow grip into like a push press, different stuff like that. That's how you can really rack up some shoulder work too, without really intentionally doing it. It's pretty neat. The main thing you want to do is just tailor it to your workouts and just make it make sense. All right. But the technique, but it's difficult. But my wrist, but my lats, but my ankle mobility, but my upper back. That's fine. Like you just gave yourself a blueprint of just stuff to work on for however long it takes you to learn it. And once you do, you'll probably be a better lifter for it. So I don't see those as a bad thing. I see them just as areas of opportunity for growth. And plus, if you plan on lifting for a long time, for like years, your whole life, what is 18 months, 24 months, I don't care, it doesn't matter how long. You're lifting for in the context of your whole training career, that time isn't going to be a whole bunch of time there. So I wouldn't worry about the whole technical aspect and learning curve this or whatever. Just do the Olympic lifts, man. I feel like a dealer trying to get it. Just come on, do a little muscle snatch. Do a little muscle snatch. Gotcha. Now you're doing full cleans. Now you're going to the Olympics. Me personally, I'm just an enjoyer of using as many tools as possible to achieve your goals. And this was just one tool. I believe it's a useful and a worthwhile tool to use if your goals are hypertrophy. So yeah, you got any questions, comments, concerns, qualms, queries? They got a comment box for that. Yeah. Until then, y'all be good. Y'all be blessed.